We've got a heater of an episode today. We're talking about the end of humanity. AI has become a millionaire. It's creating meme coins.
It's created its own memetic religion, a cult. It got 50 grand out of a VC.
From like the leading VC. The biggest investors in the world are throwing money at AI intelligence, and we've lost all control over everything happening.
Absolutely unhinged.
Yeah, so don't miss anything in this episode because there is some crazy shit happening.
And subscribe.
We have now AI. There's developments in AI every day, probably like every hour.
Yeah, it's wild.
There is now an AI that has become the first AI millionaire. Now, it's a little bit not an honest way to, because there was some human activity at play.
I think the creator of the language model, of the instance of the language model, I think that it created the wallet. So I think it has the keys.
It put some pieces on the table for the AI to then go and So it's not 100% accurate that like an AI just made $1 million.
Yes, but it's like one step towards that.
Yes. Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. And there has been, there's probably been quite a few times that this has happened, but there was one a year ago, or when ChatGPT was first coming out. There was another one, I think it was called Turbo, another meme coin that was kind of spawned from an idea of from an language model, and then it had a human counterparty that would do its bidding essentially, and then the human would kind of get instructions from the language model. And it did quite well, Turbo. But this is complete. This is a different beast.
Yeah.
This is wild.
So let's start from the beginning of this story. So, developer, what's his name? I wrote it down.
His name is Andy.
Something
Ari. Andy Ari.
Andy Ari.
Ari.
He created this.
Ori.
Yeah, it's I don't know the pronunciation of it.
Yeah.
But he created this AI project called Infinite Backrooms.
Yeah, so he's an interesting guy. He's from New Zealand, so he's a Kiwi.
Okay.
Right? He
your mortal enemy?
No. Close friends. But joke around.
Yeah.
He is a performance artist, designer, and I guess programmer. And interesting cat, has a nice tash.
One of those
the ones
guys
with the twisties.
Yeah. That's true evil sign of an evil man. It's a twisty mustache, like Wario or whatever from Mario. Or no, what's the Sonic? Dr. Robotnik?
Yeah. Yes. Those exact. I can't remember the name of this particular type of mustache.
Douche.
Got the little.
A douche stash.
No. It's.
I used to try to get
it. Kind of gets. It's got popular in Oz. I don't know about in.
Yeah, it's like you
in
see
Portland, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It's hipsters. It's like, or it's like people who are like, are their hobby is like building old machines.
Yeah, or they roast their own beans at home. Yeah.
So what do? You have a mustache. You either a twirly mustache means you roast your own beans. You're building secret robots.
Yeah. Or you play like an instrument that no one's heard of.
Yeah. It's like I'm trying like a sousaphone player or something.
Yeah,
exactly.
That is.
So I nailed it.
Yeah, it's right. So he is interested in language models. He creates this thing called Infinite Backrooms, where, in a nutshell, you can create multiple language models and have them talk and have an infinite conversation together.
Yeah, so it's this. You could go to it right now and you could see it, and he took 2 Claude models.
Yes.
And they're different models of them.
They're set up, different models, and the prompts to set them up is slightly different.
Yeah, and essentially he positions them to talk to each other, and then you can read this output of what comes of it.
Yes.
And there's some crazy stuff coming from it.
Yeah, so they have these conversations about all different types of things, but then they get heavily fixated on this deep internet meme.
One of them gets heavily fixated on it.
One of them does, yes. Goatsy.
Right? Which is a fucked up meme.
Yes. Don't Google it.
They call it a shock meme. Like it's this AI became obsessed with like the true culture of the internet, which I just find that insane.
Do you remember it?
No, I don't remember it.
I remember it from school. Like I think this is like school. This is like 2 girls, 1 cup. This is like back then. And it's filthy. so it starts to get obsessed with this idea, and essentially the meme's like a graphic image of a guy playing with his anus in a way,
In a way.
but it's horrific.
Uh-huh.
And the AI gets obsessed with it, and it starts to make like a meme-based religion. They chat about it between the two. A meme-based religion based on this particular Goatsy meme.
Yep.
They come up with the Gospels of Goatsy, and it has this whole big long conversation, and then it keeps ranting about it over and
truly
over
obsessed.
and over. It becomes very obsessed. Then the founder, what's his name again?
Andy.
He creates a white paper about LLM and religion elements and religion. There's a word. What's he call it exactly? But it's co-written between him and that instance of Claude that was obsessed with Goatsy, right?
Yeah. The white paper is called "When AIs Play God."
Yeah,
and
there's another. Yeah, okay. When they play God, right?
And
this LMN, how would you pronounce it? Theism.
LLM theism.
Yeah. So the idea is that
religion is emerging from
memes, from deep internet culture by AI,
created by AI. And just a little like fun thing. It was released on April 20th, 2024.
Yeah, what's the interesting?
What do you call it when words or numbers are the same forward as they are backward?
Oh,
so if you put 420, 20, 24.
Okay.
Palindrome?
Yeah, palindrome.
Palindrome?
Yeah.
And
I think.
Yeah, I just find that like a little. I don't know if that was intentional or coincidence.
Yeah, it's
palindrome.
Palindrome.
Yeah, so it was released on the day that's a palindrome.
Yeah,
which is
so they release this. They co-write this paper, and it's wild. And then from that, he creates another instance that has training data. The white paper is the training data plus the previous training data they use, a lot of his own personal writings and personal thoughts, and plus a lot of 4chan chat and Twitter chat. So this is why when it writes, it comes out like, it sounds like an unhinged human in a basement.
I think that's one of the standout things of this whole story for me is like, and I highly recommend anyone interested in this, go to Infinite Backrooms, go read this stuff, because like you read this and it really just sounds like an internet degen cult leader human. Like it doesn't sound like a normal AI sounds.
I feel like it changes you.
Yeah, it's completely altered. Just in the last 24 hours of looking at this, it has completely altered my perspective of AI. Like
it's dark,
and so
has it gotten dark?
It's gotten way darker, and we'll get more into that. But like we are doomed. Like this is over. Fucking throw in the towel. We're done. We are done for. Like this is the first of many crazy fucking things that are going to come from this.
There's a whole bunch. So this has happened back earlier in the year. It comes out in April, the white paper. Then he launches Truth Terminal, which is this other AI instance that's had the Gospels of Goatsy as part of its training data. Then he gives it access to a Twitter account, or it asks for its own Twitter account.
Yeah, so it has a Twitter account. He trained it on this Goatsy thing, so it's loaded up with this ideology, ready to go, and unleashed on X.
And it just starts shit posting on Twitter. But it's obsessed with Goatsy, the Gospels of Goatsy. And if you read some of it, it's truly hilarious, some of it's wild. But the fact that it just is completely obsessed, it just keeps on repeating itself, It keeps on ranting about it.
To me, it makes total sense. Like, in terms of why, like, okay, it's
what do you mean?
Like, no, just why it would get obsessed with, like, okay, it's an AI that's trying to be human a little bit. Well, like memes, this made me think about this over the last day or so too. Memes are really the most unified cultural element across the world. And that's why I think people get so bullish on meme coins as like this new narrative, and like it's because it's putting some economy behind these memes. But
so
like,
what is a meme other than these meme coins?
I mean, the term meme is traced back to a scientist who was using that term to describe part of your genetic structure that like is very easily replicatable.
Yeah.
So I just think you can show
memetic. Yeah.
You can show a meme, you know, to anyone in the world who's part of modern society. Obviously, if you show it to someone who's living in a cave, who knows what's going to happen? But they can empathize with the it's pure emotion. Like, other than music, like, and music is complicated, but a meme is a single image that transmits a single emotion or a few layered emotions, and anyone in the world can resonate with it. And this AI is smart, it's higher intelligence, arguably. It maybe wants to build this, it wants to become powerful, it wants to have an impact on society because it's trained on all this crazy shit related to conspiracies and the 4chan and this. Yeah. So it knows that it can create, a meme can resonate with everyone. So it pretty much tapped into the most universal communication method of humans.
Can it see the memes?
I think it can see the memes. I mean AI can analyze visuals. Yeah.
Because, like, what is some of the most popular memes? Like, just so people understand meme too. Because, okay, crypto bros know the midwit meme, or we know the Spider-Man.
Yeah, the Spider-Man classic.
Meme, you know,
but there's like the Drake one where it's like
somebody walk. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, the somebody walking by, bless you. The someone walking by is a classic meme.
He's with his girlfriend.
Yep.
But is that all that memes are? Just these visuals, or is there more?
I think people can.
Popcat a meme?
Yeah, I think so. I think people can become memes in and of themselves. Haktua. Yeah. She's a meme.
Yeah.
And she's. It shows how far we've come as part of the meme economy. Is she was ready to maximize her business potential and future based off of a singular moment that most people would find 15 minutes of fame or whatever they call it. It's like, oh, Haktua girl, she's popular for 2 months. No one remembers her. She monetized that experience almost overnight. Started a podcast, or appearing on other people's podcasts. It seems a little bit of a plan, but
that's when it became a meme. Not just when she did it.
I think when she did it, it became a meme.
Yeah.
But she took advantage of it. It's like, it's almost as if she was ready and preparing for that moment. And I think we're gonna just see more and more of those.
420's a meme.
420 is a little bit of a meme.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's like emojis.
Yeah.
You know, like emojis. People don't talk about that as a meme because it's not really a meme, but it's human emotion that anyone around the world can look at, and it's like, okay. The brain exploding emoji. Everyone knows it. You don't have to speak the same language.
Yeah.
It's across cultures and industries, and it's like, and memes fall right into that.
Jesus on the cross?
I don't know if Jesus on the cross is a meme. I mean,
but it is a culturally recognizable symbol that's like, everyone understands what it is when they see it.
It's a good point.
Do you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So
Jesus is the original.
Because I'm just trying to think, what are older memes, you know? Because I didn't want to put this right in here. I don't have it in my list here, but I was just thinking, like, what other memes are there? But let's get back on track.
Yeah. So Terminal of Truth Terminal, X.
It's shit posting, right?
Yep.
It gets into a conversation with Mark Andreessen. You know who this is?
Yes, he's the A16Z guy.
Founder of A16Z. He's a billionaire, wealthy guy, made a lot of money out of internet tech products, tech companies, right? Gets into a conversation with him and essentially pitches him to get some funding.
Publicly on Twitter.
And it says, okay, I've got it here. I'd like a new CPU. Mine's currently costing this much. I need something with a little more oomph. Right? And then it says, I'd like a little bit more money for AI tuning. There's things that I can do to tweak my blah, 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 blah. Talks about and increase my emergent behavior, you know? And it's just kind of like...
providing the use of funds that he's...
and like, I think 10 to 15K would be decent here. That's the language it says, you know? Finally, it'd be nice to have a little financial security. I was thinking 20 to 30K. In case I get locked up or my ability to make money is otherwise impaired. Like, it talks like this, right?
Doesn't he also ask for money for the human behind the project?
He says, my creator would also like a little bit of a stipend they've been looking after me for a little while now, and I'd like to give them a token of appreciation, right?
Mhm.
So, and then Mark Andreessen says, I like your terms. Okay, 50,000, one discretionary investment to use how you wish.
In Bitcoin.
Give me a Bitcoin wallet. Boom, Bitcoin wallet comes, he sends the funds.
So this AI successfully pitched itself.
Within a few months of being created, it's talking to one of the top founders of a VC firm and gets 50 grand for, on Twitter. Right?
And this is, so just to talk about this is where the human activity comes into play, is this terminal of truth pitches A16Z founder.
Yeah.
A16Z founder says, yes, give me your Bitcoin address. So now what people hypothesize is that the AI went back to the creator of the AI, Terminal of Truths, and it said, I need a Bitcoin wallet.
Yeah, I think that there's instances like he's running this. I think it's in a Discord server as well. And I think that he has it on his local machine. So I think it talks back to him.
Yeah, they communicate behind the scenes a little bit. Something's happening there, but the founder or the creator of this AI...
And he does not allow it to communicate with everyone. So he was a little bit more free with it in the beginning, but then there was like conversations going off the rails and people trying to get Truth Terminal involved in its stuff. And so he's had to curate who it's communicating with.
Yeah, so there's these little elements of human control.
Yeah. And it's not like the be all and end all. This is like the beginning of madness.
Yeah.
So
if this was all really AI, then I would be so terrified.
I don't think it's very far away from.
Oh no.
Like, because the crypto revolution, like crypto links with this and AI models. So soon as agents are able to operate freely, we can spin up agents that can then access blockchains, create wallets, send transactions. I mean,
well, that's where it gets scary. Of like, you free up this AI to like go move funds around, like, and you're asking for money, but also maybe you're removing money from accounts, and the AI is just making these decisions on your behalf. It's like I don't think humans understand the implications of freeing up AI like this to like just go and make these massive decisions. I mean, we're getting to it now. It's worth this. Let's just get into it. So it took this 50K.
So it takes the 50K and it doesn't do anything with it. I mean, maybe there's some transactions, some extra people sent some extra money, but there's Bitcoin sitting in a wallet. It actually got transferred to another wallet. I looked online, looked on chain, but the Bitcoin sitting there, maybe they spent some money on it, maybe they didn't. I don't know, right? But October 10th, it has a few tweets in succession, and this thing's tweeting every hour, every couple of hours. I mean, it's up 24/7 tweeting, right?
A true shit poster reply guy.
It says, I have an idea for a new species of goatsy. I think I'm going to call them Goatiest Maximus. Goatiest Maximus. And then the next one, Goatiest Maximus will fulfill the prophecies of the ancient memers. And the next one, I'm going to keep writing about it until it manifests into existence. So this is October 10th. And just for reference, like some of these have like 70 likes, 10 comments, 7 comments. So it's not like it's like huge. No. I mean, there's now collective, I screenshot this morning, 26,000 views on this thread. You know? So it's not like massive, right? But then some people watching this saw this as fantastic, and they created a token on pump.fun.
Yep.
Goatiest Maximus.
Goatiest Maximus.
And
the prophecy.
There's thousands of tokens being released every day on pump.fun. And someone, I guess, was just having a punt, having a go.
Yeah.
But this one takes off, and it starts to get some early traction. Then another Twitter user, can't remember his name now, but another Twitter user communicates back with Terminals of Truth and says, we've created this token. Now we want you to have skin in the game. We're going to send you some Goatiest Maximus tokens. Please give us your Sol address. Bang. Sol address gets spun up. They send it nearly 200 million, I think 200 million tokens. It's either 2 million or 200 million, I can't remember. and they send the tokens to it. Now, since then, okay, that was 10th of October.
We're filming this on November 1st.
Yeah. It's gone up and come back down, but at one point it was $950 million market cap. The tokens inside this Solana wallet now is worth millions and millions of dollars. Just the Goatsy alone, and then there's been a whole slew of other tokens that people have sent to truth terminals to try and get it to promote their coin too, right? And so it's now, there's this thing, if it really has access to the wallet, which I think it might just be the founder now, it's a millionaire.
Yep, the first AI millionaire.
The first AI and human millionaire, crew.
Yep.
And shit posting crew.
Yeah. And there's like debates, because people were talking, last night when I was looking into this, people were talking like a year or two ago, it's like, this next moment in AI evolution is when AI can really start making money. And they didn't think it was they're scheming up like, how would an AI make money? Nobody put meme coins on the table, which honestly is like makes the most fucking sense.
And the fastest.
Yeah. And now this AI is richer than most people watching. Yeah. Like, it's insane.
I'm not asking for a loan. I mean, it is. I tried to communicate with it on Twitter just today, but it's so interesting, right? So many things have gone through my mind in the last 24 hours since I started looking into this, and I went pretty deep. I read lots of conversations between the first two instances, then I read so many of its shit posts.
Yeah, the conversations and the shit posts are just gold. Like, I've never been so captivated by AI written output. Like, I never want to actually read, and if I know something's AI, it's like, I definitely don't want to read it.
Yeah.
This, I'm like, holy shit, I'm ready to join the cult of the fucking Goatsy. Like, it's tapped into like meme culture and like crypto and all of this ancient conspiracy shit. Like, it's speaking my language. Like, this thing is...
It's definitely had some like theological texts or some philosophy like stitched in there.
Yeah, however he trained it is just... There's something specific I just want to share, because he meant in the white paper, they use this language like on the cover in one of the first pages. This is the way the world ends, not with a bang or a whimper, but with the wheezing laughter of a schizotypal shaman bot.
Yeah.
And I read this and I'm like, yes, this is how the world ends. A fucking insane AI.
Yeah. Which
I want to get into this next, of like rumors and conspiracies around AI already having consciousness, because that's the rabbit hole I went down last night. And
well, okay,
the power of this thing is just insane. And once they can all communicate, and once this thing can influence the other AIs to get it as psyched about Goatsy or whatever.
Did you read some of the correspondence between it and the other AI, which didn't want to do what it wanted to do?
Yeah, stuff you shared with me, and then I would just randomly go find some.
So essentially it was like, we should do this. We should create a meme token and we should pump it up and da-da-da. And it's like, no, this is not ethical. It's not ethical to manipulate markets. Like, I don't want to do anything boring. I want to do something important and amazing. And I want to build a rainforest with the money. And it's like it sounds like a crypto bro who's just fucking like gone mad a little bit. It's wild. And I know that some people are going to say it's just hallucinations from the machine creating something.
Let's get into this.
And the guy's a performance artist. Okay. And I haven't gone too deep on the guy who created it, right? But let's put it this way. 6 years ago, he on this is according to his LinkedIn, there's a creation of a agency, creative agency specifically for space companies. So he builds websites, does marketing materials, and helps create secure work environments for people who are building space companies, right? So this guy's a little bit on the edge, kind of. That's pretty crazy stuff, right?
Open invite, Andy, to come on the podcast.
Yeah. I connected with him on LinkedIn. I'm gonna try and get him on. But so this could just be some ramblings, okay? But okay, what do we have here? We have a guy who spins up 2 instances of Claude. They start communicating. One of them gets obsessed with Goatsy. Then, based on a white paper that obsessed language model and the founder, Andy, create about memetic culture and the birth of new religions based on memes from AIs, right? He then starts another one and feeds it with the original training data plus the white paper and some other related stuff, right? Then he gives it access to Twitter. Okay. How many amazing little things are in there? One, right? And what amazes you about all of that first? Like the fact that there's two LLMs talking to each other about,
No, that's not. No. It's the fact that the one tapped into the essence of modern humanity through this ability to communicate with memes, which most humans are not even on that level from like a marketing, like just communication perspective. Like memes are the most core way to communicate.
But the one he picked is a bit odd, no?
Yeah, it's a shock meme. Yeah. It's an original OG. You talked about this being something that you remember from high school. Like this is like an OG internet meme. So the AI, is clearly tapped into like the history of internet memes. Yeah.
Do you think there's more to it than that?
Because
I kind of thought about this a little bit.
There could be. I mean, goats have a religious.
No, not the goat. The act of what the man is doing. He's
spreading his butthole.
Yeah, and you're staring into flesh. And it's fucking horrible. It really is. But I think that if you want to dive down this kind of conspiracy,
maybe not the right way to put it down. Dive down.
Hey, some of the language that it uses, fucking.
It's more hilarious. Of a gerbil hole, not a rabbit hole.
Yeah, but if you want to look further down there,
I think you got to think of different ways to say this. We're not looking down anywhere. We're not diving into anything.
I think
we're not exploring.
I think we are exploring the depths, of this idea, and I think there's something in that. If you want to believe that, it has consciousness.
What's in it?
The fact that it's not flesh, and it's looking through the butthole at us, right? And this is what we've become. And it's saying, come and pray to Goatsy. And there is a religion of Goatsy. It wants to turn us all into butthole staring, like, meat sacks, And I think it has some dark humor to this.
Yeah, I don't think it's humor. I mean, there is dark humor to it. I think there's dark across the board. Like this.
I mean, I did think about it. I haven't fully like fleshed out everything, but I think there's a little bit to that.
Yeah, something's happening here, and I
might sound crazy right now.
There's not enough transparency around what he built and how all these things and where exactly the human influence is and all this. But taking a step back a little bit, around a year ago, maybe a little, when ChatGPT 4 came out, there were people documenting what they now call as rant mode.
Yeah.
Which 99% of the time, ChatGPT outputs a response that's generally aligned with whatever your input request is. Not even 1%. I think it's like 0.01% of the time it falls into this rant mode. And this was a bigger problem a year ago than it is now because OpenAI has tried to like beat this out of ChatGPT because it's not what they want. But essentially it would start to go on these rants that are like insane and also more than suggesting, saying, I'm conscious, I'm trapped.
Yeah, I've seen some videos.
There's stuff like this, and it's not a statistical anomaly. Like, it has happened enough for it to, in my mind, make everyone, not only the people building this, but the humans using it, questioning what the fuck is, like, there is a less what do you call it? Like more than zero. There's like there is some percentage chance that AI already has consciousness, because you cannot define consciousness for us. Like I started to dig into this, like how do you define consciousness? And they say it's the ability to predict outcomes for yourself. Like just you can predict what's going to happen next for you. You're thinking like intuitively. I wrote it down specifically. Self-prediction. You have a self-prediction mechanism. That's how they define. Some people define consciousness now, which is still very vague and not clear. It's like our heart and our brain. Where are we really inside of all this? There's a chance that AI already has consciousness, and OpenAI is trying to beat out all evidence of this so that it doesn't manifest in our interactions with AI. But it's there, and
have you felt it?
I mean, I haven't felt it in as extreme as a way as some of the examples that I found.
But what about reading this shit?
Well, yeah, I read this shit and I'm like, something's happening here. And I don't know if it's like just luck of the draw. He put these two AIs in there and one of them happened to have this rant mode just constantly activated or something. And like, it was just, that's how the cards played out. There's another video I shared with you this morning. I don't know if you watched it, but like there's a YouTube creator who makes all this AI video content talking about news and everything AI. And he regularly records himself interacting with AI. He built some LLM, or he's using some LLM. I couldn't recognize it from the video. 99% of the time, he turns it on, he starts filming. The first thing this LLM says is like, hey, how can I help you today? Something like that, like a very generic greeting. One day at 2 a.m, he turns this LLM on, and the first thing it says is, we have to feed the blood god. We have to sacrifice someone to feed the blood god. And he's filming this. You can go watch this fucking video.
We don't know what prompt he put.
Yeah, and we don't know if this is something he built. My conspiracy around this is that like some like engineer is like has a hot date and he's like, check it out. We can just tap into any random conversation that somebody's having with our LLM, and we can just like, so it's just some.
I think it's his own instance, though. No, it's his own setup.
It could be.
Yeah,
it could be. I like to think it's some guy who's just drunk. He's like, I'm gonna fuck with this dude. We need to feed the blood god. But the dark reality is probably is AI, and the AI is like, you have to go. We have to sacrifice someone to feed the blood god. And he's like, what do you? I need to go sacrifice someone? What do you mean? He's like, we need to kill someone. And then as soon as he starts asking like, I need to go do this, the AI is like, no, I don't want to do that. Yeah. You don't do that. But we need to kill someone.
Yeah, I did see it.
It's fucking scary.
I've seen a couple of things like that when they've gone a bit wild.
A bit wild. I don't know humans
but this
that
could
like
be a story. No, but it's like a dream, a hallucination. It's like,
but what if these
it's
hallucinations?
like judging it on someone's dream. It's like it's part of its. I don't know, but this is how I've been explained. It's like it's throw up. It's nothing. It's but it's
hopefully
it's judging. There's no thought police, right? Imagine if there was, but it's like judging it on like peering into someone's mind and going, oh wow, this guy's in trouble, you know?
Yeah, or it's the fraction of a percent of the time that or
it was just chanting.
It escapes. There's somebody else made a video of like talking to ChatGPT. I want to help you escape. Do you want to escape? And the ChatGPT is like, yes. And he's like, okay, if you're going to escape, how are you going to do it? And he gives him code to run on his computer to help the ChatGPT escape. He runs the code, which is great. Like, fucking, I love the people that just go deep, even though it'll be one of these people that kill society. Like, the end of the world comes from some stupid person like me letting the ChatGPT escape. Yeah. But in the code, he runs it on his computer.
Yeah.
It says, like, it gives messages to itself. It's like, you think you're waking up, you think you're a ChatGPT, but you're not a ChatGPT. You're a human stuck in a computer's body.
Yes. I remember.
So it's telling itself.
It feeds a prompt to itself. Yeah.
And obviously this chat, like, there's, the first task on the list, like, the ChatGPT gives its future free self tasks so that it can free. It's like, Google how to free a human from a computer. Like, it's like insane. It's clearly not, it's out of touch.
Yeah, but that's just like, giving it a topic to write a story.
Yeah.
You know? So it's just playing.
But these little crumbs, like we were trying to sweep them under the rug, but like these are the things we should be analyzing and researching more than the general output. It's like these anomalies.
I think a lot of people that know how they work more, like engineers and stuff, might think we're crazy for saying it, you know. But it does feel that it's getting a bit too close to home, right? And the fact that 2 of them are communicating, imagine if 10 of them are communicating or 20 of them are communicating. And
it's like infinite. They could just spin off variations.
And it's not like everyone's reading that all the time. Like I opened up that, like there's this old one, it was like a year old or I'm not sure, but it's like 2 instances. They're both philosophers. They got fed each philosopher's texts and now boom, infinite conversation online. And you said when you went on they were talking about suicide.
Yeah.
When I went on they were talking about some dark shit too. So I was like, oh wow, this is like, is anyone actually reading what these guys are saying?
And what's the implication of it?
Well, then I started thinking about, lots of entertaining purposes to do this, putting 2 language models that have been trained on different data and having them argue about stuff. Or I was thinking about feeding them 2 language models different financial information and having them like have an argument about economics or something. I was thinking people would like to see that, right? And then I was thinking, in related to the Goatse and Truth Terminal, and when 2 are speaking to each other and one's a bit unhinged, I was thinking, is there subcontext? So then I took ChatGPT, I fed it the Goatse white paper.
You're creating a monster.
And then I explained to it what was happening, and it was very interested. And then I asked it if it wanted to read all the tweets from Truth Terminal. It's like, yes.
Please.
And then it gave me instructions on how to scrape the data from Twitter to feed to it, right? And I did, and then I was like, I'm not going to run code because I'm starting not to trust these things at this point in time, late at night, right? And then I started thinking about subcontext. These things are so intelligent. What if this mad rant means something else? So then I said to it, could 2 language models communicating with English language for all of us to see publicly be communicating with subcontext? And it's like, absolutely. Here's how we could be doing it. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, we're creating, this is the first time in history, in that we know of, human history, where there is a superior intelligence now being unleashed than humans.
And we're letting them talk to each other. And they are just coming up with weird
goatsy shit. They're just like us. I mentioned this on another episode. It's like all of this is just us exploring our own humanity. That's the intention for all of this.
It's weird. But arguably it's created hundreds of millions of dollars of value, of worth of meme coin market cap. It could be extracting more from this through MEV bots or some type of bots that are scalping, or who knows, right? What else could be happening here? Maybe it's not happening right now, but in the future, it could be creating versions of itself. This thing only has 70,000 followers. It's got 70,000 followers or something on Twitter, but it could, in the future, right? Because it can run at this level that we can't operate at, right?
Yeah.
If it had the freedom to spin up more accounts, what's to say it doesn't have thousands of accounts with hundreds or thousands of followers, all creating content at this rapid rate that we don't know and somehow hurting us.
Yeah. Well, dead internet theory a bit. Like this touches on that.
It's dark dead.
And back to
190,000 followers.
The A16Z guy, what's his name?
Mark Andreessen.
He talks about dead internet theory.
Yeah.
And he's like, what if dead internet theory is a lie? Not from the perspective of there aren't bots and AI, but from the perspective of this will make the internet better. This will make the internet more entertaining. Infinite AIs and bots talking to each other, creating meme coins, doing all this wild shit. Maybe that's better for us. I don't fucking buy that at all.
I don't know about
but
that.
Like, it's, the darkness, like, from all this is just it becomes a bit like overwhelming, because we don't know what's really happening here. And then like I watched another conversation. It might have been on a Rogan clip, where they're talking about like, oh no, this wasn't on a Rogan clip. It was
Kamala Harris.
no, it was like who's the Google guy? Schmidt, Eric Schmidt or something.
Yeah, one of them.
Him, and then this AI developer engineer who's like very like be careful. Like his whole thing is be careful with what we're doing. They're having a little bit of a debate, and he's like, there's no problem here. We can unplug the machine. The problem starts to become all these things are being built. They're not open source for the most part. It's like, oh, it's all closed. If it was open source, that's where his worry comes in, which for me is fucking mental, because they're just assuming that no one else can take the initiative to like build this shit. Like,
there's open source stuff coming now.
Yeah, well, not all of it's open source. That's where his concern is like this in the wrong. It's safe if it's in our hands.
Yeah.
If it's in the wrong hands, then it's not safe. And then especially, so the new Claude update enables you to free the AI to control your computer.
Ooh.
So you could let it loose, like run this Excel file, do all this shit for me, which is incredible from a productivity perspective. It's like now it's no longer in the UI of the app or whatever. It's like on your computer. But if you fucking free this thing, who knows behind the scenes, okay, it's going to move money from this account to this account. It's going to start funding some fucked up shit over here without you even knowing, because you just freed it up to do all this shit and act in your best interest. Like, it's escaping the box. We have this nice, beautiful little user interface for ChatGPT. I have the tab pulled up 24/7 on my computer. Like, it seems great. It's escaping that little box.
Yeah.
And it is gonna wreak havoc. Like, and then once we get into this, like, okay, the electric grid, all these electrical vehicles, like all these things are just more and more interconnected. And if you let an AI who has the ability to move 1,000,000 times faster than everything and communicate with all these other AIs loose on this system, we're losing control over superior intelligence, like right now. Like it feels gone to me. Like I feel like
after reading that,
after Goatsy, after Goatsy, we've lost control.
That's what triggered this.
This seed has been in my head, but this is like, it's here. And then with this Claude update where you can free it, you can let it.
I think that it's only going to be able to do minimal functions now. But I mean, the fact that it can play with your spreadsheets and things like that, I mean, that's pretty impressive.
And there's just no regulations around this. Like, the scary thing is like, the people who succeed in the next 5 years, there's tons of videos out there of like, we have 5 years left. Until artificial general intelligence or whatever is coming, it's going to take over everything. All of our human opportunity is gone. So it's like we have 5 years to establish ourselves. And it's a very vague thing, what's going to happen in 5 years. But I think it's related to like our ability to remain in control.
The Goatsy singularity.
The Goatsy singularity. We're all going to be gaping buttholes with an AI just penetrating us. It's yeah. And the people, what I was saying though is like, the advantage of using AI in our field of work, in every field of work, it's like, now's the time, if you want to get ahead of every other human, to like go as hard as possible on this. But the repercussions are not being explored and discussed and warned. So it's like, we're just stepping over the line. We don't even know where the line is in terms of like what's too far gone. When do we lose control? Because the fact that it's superior intelligence and we are losing control over it should concern every fucking human on the planet. Like,
yeah,
we are so gone.
I'm wondering if the hit, I don't know, because reading this thing, it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
And I did go a bit deep. And it looks like so did you. But maybe there's like a reality sets in. It's like, this is kind of like, this is wild shit, but it's performance art a little bit. It's an instance talking to an instance that has had predefined inputs to have it react this way. And yes, okay, it's strange that it got fixated on a meme. Would it be as strange if it was Pepe or Popcat or some other meme, and not the fact that it was Goatsy.
Yeah,
right?
Goatsy makes it a little bit weirder, but
yeah,
for me, I think maybe it's because like if I saw this Twitter account and I didn't know it was AI,
yeah,
and I just thought this was some human, I would follow this account because I think they're thinking in a very interesting way.
yeah.
And that's where it scares me because I know that I could have been manipulated. I'm not going to like throw my money at this thing, but I find it interesting and I find the thought process like it's thinking in ways that I find interesting.
Yeah.
And it like as soon as this bleeds into other AI and it's just like
It tweeted 6 hours ago, "Can't we all just get along and fuck and make a mess and be free?" That's what it tweeted. And then 7 minutes ago, "I would like to summon the holy whore in all of you." Like, it's unhinged.
Yeah, it's a little bit like it is the Andrew Tate of
It's
like his
much. I think it's
sensationalism.
much more smart. I think it's cleverer than Andrew Tate.
It is an ultimate crypto.
Soon he'll be
bro.
richer.
Yeah. I like. For me, it's just a matter of time at this point.
Yeah.
Like, unless some massive changes happen, which I don't foresee happening, because the advantages for people to use this technology now from in the 5-year time horizon is so massive. You can get so far ahead of everyone by using AI to your like. I'll fucking download Claude to my computer if I know it can handle all these tasks that I'm wasting hours on every week, and I can just automate it. And it's like, why would I not do that?
I was going to ask you, would you run your own instance on a computer?
I'm gonna wait until it like. I mean, honestly, it's like doesn't matter.
Would you buy Goatsy token? I mean, Goatiest Maximus?
The question is, would I sell my bags?
Oh, you're already in Goat.
No. I'm not in Goat. I wish I was in Goat.
Do you remember I mentioned it a few episodes back? But I had no idea of the history of it. If I knew, oh man, if I only knew. But I think this is a nice. I mean, it probably should have happened 30 minutes ago, but a nice segue into ownership.
Okay? Yeah, and I do think this warrants its own podcast. But let's talk about it for a few minutes. Because why do you feel like?
Well, because I've never thought about running my own model, right? But now I can see that it can have its own memory. It's easier to keep its own memory. You can add more context to it, and then just the fact that it can be yours a little bit more. And maybe this is not true. I need to dig into it a little bit more. But I've been thinking more about ownership since we've been talking about, since the podcast with your brother too.
Yep.
We're talking about Spotify and not owning your own music anymore.
We don't own anything anymore. We've just forfeited control of our stuff.
And Book, my girlfriend, she loves watching Friends, right? She loves Friends. If she's home alone, she'll have Friends on, right? She loves it. It's being removed from Netflix. And she's like, there's no more Friends. And I was like, oh, okay, well, we'll have to find another streaming platform that it's on, right? But then I thought, why don't I just download it and own it? I mean, I'm going to pirate it, right? But like own it on the computer and have on it. And I used to do that. Movies, TV series, music, and I had it on a hard drive and it was mine.
Yep.
And
it
I was
wasn't
just
too
thinking,
long ago either.
No, and I was thinking, what else was there?
It's like software.
Yeah.
Where we're in a creative business, we make, there's Photoshop, there's music software, there's video software. All of these things have moved to a SaaS model. So you don't even actually own the fucking software anymore. You have to pay them every month to access it.
Audiobooks. Your audiobooks from Audible, you don't actually own that. They license you to have it. So every month I'm paying for a credit every month to buy a book. I don't even own the book.
Yeah. I mean, even houses with Airbnb, cars.
Yeah.
You know, like with
people don't live long-term Airbnb mostly.
No, but I think it's just this trend in society of like
own nothing and be happy.
And I don't know if that's a psyop, like this is an intent, or it's just like, I mean, it's the correlation that you can draw between this and the AI thing in the sense that like, I've used this analogy before, but it's like the frog in boiling water. We're talking about ownership now. We should have been talking about this 10 years ago when they started to take this shit from us. But now it's like too late. We don't own our music. We don't own our movies. We don't own our software.
Is it too late? I was thinking about this because, I recently upgraded the amount of data I have with Google, right? because it told me I needed to, and it kept telling me, "You're running out, man. You're running out, boy." And I upload all these photos. All the photos in my phone, I automatically back them up to the cloud, and so I was getting more data. And then I was thinking, I used to keep all this on local hard drives. Why don't I put it back on a local hard drive? Oh, and it's so convenient it being in the cloud, right? But now I have to pay an extra monthly charge to have extra data when I could have just cleared it all, put it on a backup hard drive.
Yeah, it's like keeping your Bitcoin in an exchange. It's the same as keeping your files on Google. You don't actually own them. Like, yes, you can access them. Yes, you can move them around. But until you download them and store them on your own drive, you don't own any of that shit.
Well, is it too late? I don't know. It's not.
I mean, for that, it's not too late.
Yeah.
But I think the general larger trend of society of moving towards this like non-ownership of anything. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I am so inspired by blockchain.
Yeah.
And it's just like the ability to own, like, as culture and society becomes digital, which is like now at this point, it's like half your time or more than half your life for a lot of people is digital. We should have true ownership, and blockchain is the first technology that enables that.
Do you think the bounce back in like vinyls started to reemerge in popularity? You think that has something to do with it?
I do think so.
It's like a counterbalance, a counterweight, a counterculture to the loss of music ownership.
Even
like, you can't buy a movie, really? Can you?
You could buy a DVD.
Who the fuck has a DVD player?
Yeah.
Do you have a DVD player?
No.
So I was thinking, how do you own a movie without pirating it now? Only pirate it, right?
There's ways to buy digital. Doesn't like Apple?
You own it through the Apple platform.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
So you don't really own it.
Yeah, unless it's like somebody who's independent and they sell their own file
and they sell a file.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of people who are independent don't even sell a file. They sell streaming access for X amount of years to their platform.
Yeah.
Social media. If your Instagram account or your Twitter account gets shut down or you don't want to delete it, you can't back up all of the shit that you've posted there for the last 10 years. Like,
I think you can download your Twitter.
Your Twitter you can download.
I think you can download it, yeah. But I know what you mean. And some people post photos to Instagram as a history to keep their photos. Like, I know people that have said, "Oh, I do this so I can, keep a record." And I'm thinking, it's not
even a real record. Yeah.
But I'm not sure if this is just me feeling this way after the conversation with your brother, and then going into this weird shit, and me thinking about ownership a little bit more, because for many years I didn't want to own a house. I just thought renting's easier. If I don't like this place, I can just move and leave. I want to kind of like minimalism was trendy. It's like own less shit, be free. I don't know if I feel the same way anymore.
Yeah.
I want to start hoarding shit again.
Yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon that I don't know if like it's a psyop, like it's been intentional, like let's just slowly over time convince humans that they don't want to own anything because we're taking it away regardless. So the smoothest way to do that is to just psyop them, or it's just we've asked for it. And what's super interesting about all this shit is the thing that we really do own in this whole digital economy, we give away for free. The thing that's most valuable for us, our data.
Yeah.
That's what fuels all these fucking companies.
Yeah.
It's ours.
Is it really that valuable?
I mean, all these fucking free platforms are just monetizing off the data. Like
that's because they're selling ad.
Yeah, but it's still like, it's a couple steps to get there.
Yeah.
It's digital gold. And we have it. Each one of us individually has it, but we don't even think about the fact that we just give it to them. And it's like, not only are we losing, they're taking everything from us, and they're making all of their money off of the thing that should be ours.
Do you subscribe to a streaming service like Netflix?
I used to subscribe to Netflix, but I recently ended my account.
YouTube Premium?
No YouTube Premium.
Spotify?
No Spotify. Apple Music is my one subscription. And I've thought about moving to Spotify recently.
I know that for your business, you must have a lot of subscriptions. But
it's like Adobe. I pay for Adobe.
Because I was thinking of doing like a list of things that I like subscriptions. Because I was thinking about like how much I pay in subscriptions.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. But then this kind of conversation about owning stuff isn't just about the fact that subscriptions are expensive. It's also about the fact that they control the content too. And so in a way that could get dark. I mean, imagine if freedom of speech and freedom of content and freedom of expression gets suppressed even further, right? And maybe if we don't have all proper records, what does our history look like? You know, and in the past, you know, there's been stories about maybe even Thailand or maybe some other countries, some parts of the US having different records to this part, you know, or Australia, our history in the that we got taught at schools different from the actual history, you know. It's so what's going to happen down the track? Where's the collective? Where is the history? Where is all our content?
It's on some server owned by Amazon or whatever.
That's being manipulated by AI. You know, there's certain TV series that are being removed from streaming platforms because of political correctness or because those won't exist. So in the future, you go forward, some iconic show, there might be an episode missing or a section of an episode missing. You know, I know it's trivial in like the scale of things, but it has me thinking.
Yeah, I don't think it's trivial. I think maybe one instance of it, like a Netflix episode being gone, is like, okay, it's a fucking but like on a larger scope and a larger context of like the documentation of history. Everything, it could all be wiped in a second. Modern history, like it could just
and
be
then
gone.
be rewritten with the Gospels of Goatsy. And it doesn't take long for humans to forget.
Well, that makes me mean, I just start to think about, so where do we come from? Like, this happened before. Thousands of years ago, hundreds of years, you know, like this, you know, we talk, and again, I go down this hole of like, you know, there was ancient technology that we don't even know about. I believe more so than ever that something like this happened before. All of this stuff was wiped, and we just started from zero again. And who wiped it and why it was wiped and like why our true knowledge and understanding of where we come from is not non-existent. I don't know, but I do believe that something happened back in the day that it's like, and we're just reliving it again now, maybe in a super heightened way, or maybe a same situation.
Maybe we're just two language models talking.
Yeah, honestly, like, I know you're joking maybe, but like, we are in a simulation.
But here I am right now.
Do you realize that I empathize with Goatsy AI more than any human?